it's Acquaintance Call-In, and I think we have on the line a seminal figure. I'd say someone who is a big part of the Go community, and so we're honored to have on the line Michaela, aka Incente. Michaela, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Hi. Thanks so much for having me.
Wow, welcome to the show. So good to see you.
Thank you.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's a pleasure to have you. Thanks for doing it.
For those of you who don't know, we found Michaela from YouTube, her channel Incente. We'll talk more about it later, but it's all about playing Go, really.
Yeah, exactly. Spreading the popularity of Go and teaching the game of Go. So it's a real pleasure to have you tuning in and kind of sharing your thoughts about the game with us, Michaela.
Now, before we go any further, this is Acquaintance Call-In, so just for our legal department, we got to ask you, we got to make sure we are acquaintances, right? We're not friends.
Correct.
Okay,
I think I get booted off automatically if I become a friend, right? Because of the thing. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah. So watch it. You know what I mean? Make sure nobody on this call has warm feelings towards each other by the end of this. Okay. So I'm going to be watching you guys. Yeah, you know what I mean? Exactly. Keep it professional. No friendship.
That's right.
So, Michaela, how long have you been playing Go? Why don't we start with that?
Yeah. Wow. So I've been playing Go. The first time I tried playing Go, let's say, was probably when I was 16. So it was about 10 years ago.
Nice.
Back then, the only resources I had was the Yahoo Go server.
Whoa.
And that's it. I very quickly stopped playing because I had no idea what I was doing.
Yes. I had a similar story, but mine was the Ask Jeeves Go server.
There was one on Jeeves. No.
That was right next to Minesweeper and Hearts, all that stuff. Yeah.
I wouldn't doubt it.
Yeah. These days, Bing has the rights to the Ask Jeeves Go server, so they're just sitting on it for now, trying to figure out how to revamp it.
Yeah. So that was a time that I really got very kind of frustrated with it. There was no one to talk to really, so I kind of just stopped. And then when I got older, so this was probably 4 years ago, I had started to look at the game again because I'd watched one of the animes that had Go in it, and I was like, I want to try playing again. So there are way more resources. I found more servers, and I just started playing. And that's actually when the channel came about, because I thought I would make a vlog of me relearning again to share it with. So
yeah, and that was real helpful with Andrew and I. I mean, we really kind of have to get in quick and dip our toe into a game with our setup. And so I know when we were first looking into this game and trying to learn more about it, immediately some of your videos came up, and it was just super helpful to have a friendly face who also was taking a very laid back educational approach, basically, to be I'm not on a podium. I'm just a person like you, and I'm always learning as well. And so that helped me as somebody who was just starting out learning the game too. So that was super helpful.
Yeah, a lot of the videos online are for people up here, and I'm like, well, I need something a little bit. That's true for any game, though. I mean, really, but especially Go.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. Andrew's camera can't show how low he needs the videos to be for him. He'd have to tilt that camera down a little bit.
Yeah, all the way on the floor. So do you mostly play Go online then, or do you ever play in person, in tournaments or anything like that?
So I mostly play online. I have a Discord community with my patrons that we sort of play on, and I try to play online when I can. Pre-pandemic, BP, I guess, before pandemic, I did play occasionally at the Boston Go Center. It was only 10 to 15 people that would come every week in the library, but it was really fun. It was really cute. That's
kind of a big group.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
10 to 15? That's good.
Yeah. Go is just, that's what I love so much about the game, is it's just such a genuine and wholesome community, because we're so scattered. Having just 10 people in a club is like, we did it. Like, this is great. Like, we have a crowd here right now.
Yeah, I feel like I hear that from a lot of people who are one of their main, I guess, criticisms of the game essentially is just like, I want somebody to play with and I don't have anybody to play with. You know what I mean? Like, I'd love to have a lot of people, when I was like reading reviews of the game, essentially, a lot of people were like, if I only had somebody I was really close to who I could like play every day, I'd be in heaven. And you know what I mean? So it wasn't even like a criticism of the game. It was just kind of like, I guess, a little bit of sadness that they didn't have a constant Go partner, basically.
Yeah. So a lot of people out there listening are probably just starting playing Go like us. Do you have any advice for getting into the, because I got to tell you, the first time I played the game, I thought, oh, this is easy. There's like no rules. So just put stuff down. And immediately I got destroyed by the easiest bot that I was playing out there.
That's what makes it hard. And that's what makes it so fascinating, I think, is because the strategies are not rules. They come out organically from the lack of rules, I guess. It's very much, you feel like you're looking at a very fundamental like behavior of how games work when you play this game, because it's so free. But I think that the best thing for beginners to do is honestly to try to, there's two ways. I think from a strategic perspective, I think the best thing to do is really just to play without boundaries and no limits, just try to get a feel for the game. And recognize that the game is less about making points and more about building groups. So I always like to say that Go is like StarCraft meets chess. It's like a very, you build your groups and you create your armies in real time, and how strong you make them decides how well they can attack, and then decides how much territory you get at the end because of how strong the group is. And so I would try to look a lot at staying connected and using your stones to work together, and not thinking of them as isolated points, but more as like a force that you're trying to build.
I love that. StarCraft meets chess. I love that. I think my problem was that I used to play Warcraft as a kid. I never played StarCraft, so that's probably why I wasn't very good.
That's kind of the root of a lot of Andrew's problems. Comes up a lot that he used to. No. Sorry. No, Warcraft guys get kidnapped by Warcraft guys live on camera right now. No, but I feel like I've seen that in your videos specifically, Incente. Like I especially as a beginner, when I see it, I think like, why did she maybe give up like this piece? Because to me, I'm like, yeah, every piece is valuable, but I can, by 2 minutes later, I see what you're doing. I'm like, oh, she's trying to build a larger, wall or territory, and it's in the long run, it's going to be much more beneficial to do that. And so it's it is very interesting to like you said, zoom out essentially. Like, don't be worried about a piece.
Right. And 9x9 is a great
about making those groups.
Yeah. And like 9x9 is a great place to start, because you learn the fundamentals of how the stones fit together, of capturing. Is very close quarters, very crunched. And then once you get those fundamentals of fighting and how to make a living group and stuff down, then you can take it to 19x19 and zoom out. And then it becomes like a game of Risk, where it's just a landscape that you're trying to take control over.
Pete and I have actually been playing a lot of 13x13. Do you see that a lot?
That's the middle one. I actually skipped over 13x13 when I was moving up. But that's definitely nice if you want to take a slower progression, for sure. Some just want to jump into it. And
I think it's mostly time with us. It's like just trying to find a quicker game, I feel like that with that giant game, it could take a while. Also, part of our problem with Go, I think, is that we just are not sure when the game's over. It's like, are we done here? We got to talk about like
Right. And we don't know enough about the end game essentially yet, to the point where we can see, like, we can like stop early and be like, I think we're good. You know what I mean? Like, I think we're still at the point where we play it to, we literally have no more moves. And then we're like, all right, let's figure out what we just did essentially.
Right. And that's good. And that sense of exploration is what makes it interesting, right? And then like as you get better, you'll learn like, oh, this group's dead. Like I'm not going to try to save this thing. I'm not going to worry about it. It's gone. And then you get to the point where you see that ahead of time and you're like, I'm not even going to try to save it. We're just going to like use this as a sacrifice and build around it. So it's a process of unlearning and relearning as you get better at the game all the time.
You must unlearn what you have learned, right?
Yoda. Who said that? Is that
That's Yoda. That's Yoda right there.
Oh, I see. Okay, sorry. Of course, Yoda.
Sorry, I'm a nerd.
Everything that comes out of this guy's mouth is Yoda. He's a big Yoda stan, you know.
Yoda would be good.
Yoda would be good. Oh, wow. That's a whole topic we could get into.
Now, hold on. Okay, like I said, we can't become friends here, folks. So we got to stop talking about how Yoda would be good at Go because we're getting into dangerous territory.
I'm sure he was playing Go in that little hut in the swamp. That's all I'm saying.
Watch it, Andrew. Watch it.
Pan over. He was playing it.
Stop making fan fiction about what Yoda does in his hut. We're getting too close to friendship over here. Michaela, you were talking about linking the groups together, and you specifically started to highlight one of the major concepts of Go, like life and death, a living group and a dead group, and everything like that. And I don't know about either of you two, but when Andrew and I are playing, and then we start making eyes for these organisms on the board, my mind always, you mentioned StarCraft, but my mind always goes to like RPG, like JRPGs, like turn-based things, essentially, like in the Final Fantasy vein, because I always think of the slime enemies, because these organisms kind of like form together and then they form eyes, and so every time I get an organism that has a couple of eyes in it, I'm always like, look at this little, slime monster that's coming together, kind of thing. And I guess I just wanted to ask, is that weird? Does that freak anybody out? Maybe.
Oh, that's not weird.
Am I a weirdo for that?
That's not weird at all. It's perfectly normal to anthropomorphize the groups, and some are adorable, some are huge and intimidating, some are regrettable.
So do you ever purposely try and make your shapes look like certain things, like a little bunny rabbit or something like that? Any
Sonic the Hedgehog or something?
I've tried once. It did not go over well, so
trying to spell out messages on the Go board.
Yeah, that's next level. It's like subliminal messaging.
Yes,
psych your opponent out by spelling words on
that would be a real flex, right? Like if you win but you also spell something out, that would be
I think that would happen if you played either of us. You could just have a field day with that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
When I play weaker players, I try to intentionally tie the game when I play teaching games with weaker players. That helps me not overwhelm them, and also I can work on my counting, and it gives me like something extra to try to work for.
Yeah, I mean that's a crazy amount of control, essentially, being able to be like, I can hit. It's like shooting an arrow. It's like I can hit this target. Interesting.
Yeah.
That's very gracious of you too. That kind of leads that kind of leads me to the next question. Do you have any friends who you play Go with that just? I guess not, but I was going to say, does anybody play with you who just refuses to play with you because it's just way too intense?
I think I'm not intimidating enough of a person. I think like a lot of my friends, like I'm very welcoming. Like I try to be like, how many stones do you want? Like I try to tie the game. Like my whole thing is trying to make it as fun for new players to play as possible. So I think I have that problem, but I think that if someone just saw me on YouTube, for example, and they go into my Discord and they meet me for the first time, they might be like a little intimidated. They're just like, I don't think I'm good enough to play. I'm like, I built my channel off of being good at the game. It's okay. Like I can play.
Right. You've got the creds, right? Yeah. Maybe I should start doing that with my 3-year-old.
Yeah.
So I don't keep mercilessly beating my 3-year-old at this game, just for my own ego. Start doing that.
Is there such a thing as too much Go? Do you have to obviously you've got a whole YouTube channel devoted to it, like do you ever have to tell yourself I gotta stop for the day or something like that, or like just tell yourself, hey, I have to shower today, I have to I have to go to the grocery store, I can't play another person in my Discord and Go.
very much so. Actually, I've been sort of thinking about this, I think, in the Go community in general, is that the game can be so enveloping and complicated. We can get lost in it if we're not careful. And there's been quite a few times I've actually had to take a very long break from my channel because I was burning myself out trying to make content, play games, get better on my own. And it's hard enough to get better at the game at my level on my own, let alone have that time to teach others and make content. And it's so much. So I've just come back a few months ago to my channel, and I'm really working on making my relationship with the game more sustainable so that I can keep playing and keep having fun. One of the key strategies in Go is always try to manage your groups right. And you don't want to make too many groups all over the board because they'll all be weak and you won't be able to tend to all of them well enough. And I sometimes find that we do that in our own lives, where we have so many things we're doing, we can't possibly complete all of them, and then one of them dies. So it's a good lesson to take into the life.
Whoa.
Yeah,
that is actually, because I've seen these people.
Very deep.
Yeah,
very deep. What did Yoda say that? Just bringing it back to Yoda. Oh, that's pretty deep. But did Yoda say that?
No, I've seen these people. I watched. I'm sure you've seen the AlphaGo movie, and a lot of people on there, these professional Go players, are saying like Go is life and all this stuff. And I guess that's a great example of one of the reasons why Go could be like life. So I assume you saw
absolutely.
that, right, with AlphaGo.
Yeah, that was crazy. That was one of the craziest things that shook the Go world that I've seen. It was wonderful.
Pete, did you want to ask the AlphaGo question?
Sure. Yeah. Well, so here's my question about AlphaGo. Is obviously, for, like you were saying earlier, it doesn't have direct strategies in the same way that maybe some other abstract games like chess does. And it's really more of a reflection of how our mind reacts to how our opponent acts, basically. And so that was, I think, one of the problems that computers were having for a little while, of kind of wrapping their head around Go. That's not the right word, but you know what I'm saying. And then, of course, we kind of had a breakthrough not too long ago where a computer was finally able to beat a human player, and since then has been developing its own strategies, essentially. And my main question is, should we have done that? Because if an AI was having a little bit of a stumbling block learning Go, and then we suddenly broke down yet another barrier for computers, are we just going to end up, aren't we one step closer to getting enslaved by computers, is my question, Michaela. It was like we had one little shred of defense against being against our computer overlords, our eventual computer overlords. Yeah. And then we taught it Go. It was having trouble and we helped it. It's like, come on, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Was it smart?
Okay, so I will preface this by saying I'm a total techie. I love technology. Like, I would plug myself into an Android so hard, like get an alarm, all that stuff.
So you're on their side. Okay, well,
you would love Android.
We kind of are too.
That's another game. We'll talk about it.
It's another game, yeah. But I will say, though, that I think that it's had a huge effect on the game, and I think some ways a little bit less desirable. Like, in some ways, I think it's a little bit regrettable that the machines were able to break into the Go world like this, because what we're seeing now is we're seeing a lot of strategies, whereas before Go was a very creative landscape where you'd see different professionals with really different styles, and when you knew the game, it's like, oh, this professional's like really calculating, and this one's really wild, and this one's really solid and stern, and like all these beautiful personalities. But now that the AI kind of solved it, to lack of a better word, we kind of see a lot of the strategies being distilled down into like a computer dictated meta, and it's a lot of like, oh, what's the right move, and there's only one option now, instead of there's a few right moves we can do based on what you prefer.
Right. Yeah. Leave it to humans to miss the point completely, right? As soon as computers solve it, we go, oh, okay, we'll just do what they're doing. It's like, what do you,
right.
What?
Right. And it gets harder because we don't we only know the first 10 moves or so of what the computer was thinking when they suggested the move. So we don't know the master plan they were going to have. And a lot of times we see a 99% win rate, and that translates to a 3.5 point win. And if you were to make a mistake in the end game, that's your lead gone. Like then you lose the game. So it's like, it's not sure. And so I've been trying to figure out how best to use computers with this whole new thing. And I'm trying to figure it out, but it's been challenging.
Yes.
Well,
yeah.
Someday we'll all be enslaved by them.
Oh,
so it won't matter anyway.
Well, let's roll out the red carpet here. What else can we teach them? Candyland? No, I don't know. I'm sure they already know how to play Candyland pretty well. But Michaela, I know that you also have specifically a science and technology channel right now on YouTube too, right? So if people are interested in specifically that science angle and the technology angle that you're speaking of, they should probably check that one out as well.
I do tinker on there. Yeah,
just plugging away over here.
I'm doing a lot of that. I do tinker a little bit on there. I'm actually starting a climate change nonprofit that I hope to be running soon.
Cool.
Online. Wow. It's called stateoftheclimate.org. And I'm hoping to try to get that going as like sort of my passion. It's been my passion project for such a long time, but yeah. So that's another way I'm trying to do my science and tickle that. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's stuff going on.
Truly a fascinating life. Truly fascinating. Yeah, I mean, because Andrew and I are you can see by our houses that Andrew and I are just sitting in doing nothing, essentially.
Oh, no, it's not as glamorous as it seems. It's one of those, I have 50 groups I'm trying to take care of at once, and then I get panic attacks every other. No, I'm just kidding, but I
know what you mean. Yeah.
She's working on fixing the climate. I'm just trying to organize my closet, and Pete's trying to do his dishes back there. It's like,
Well, who's the one that doesn't have their dishes done? It's me. So who's the real loser here?
Just saving water, saving the planet. That's all.
Yeah, your dish group has only one eye. It's a dead group for sure. You're gonna have to remove it at the end of the game. That's for sure. I have only one other question for you, Michaela, which is just so obviously Go is, I would assume you would say your favorite game, but do you have maybe a number 2 or a number 3 or just one or two other games that just come off the top of your head as something that you enjoy playing as well?
Yeah. So I'm a big Magic the Gathering fan.
Oh,
I do really like that game a lot.
Cool.
So we haven't, as of this time, we haven't covered Magic on the podcast yet. Have you ever played? What is it called? Netrunner or
Android Netrunner? We referenced it a little bit earlier, but the Richard Garfield, the creator of Magic, had a big hand in the development of that game, and it is similar. It's a living card game that you might dig because it is in the cyberpunk setting, but it's almost like Magic in the cyberpunk setting.
People plugging computers in their brains.
Oh, that sounds cool. Yeah, that sounds right up my alley. Actually, I'm gonna check.
I think it is. Check it out, yeah. I think it is. Check it out. We enjoyed that one, and we also. Man, we really enjoyed Go. Like I said, we've just recently were even introduced to it, but we immediately it clicked with us. So I'm so glad that there are people like you out there who take new folks under their wing and keep the community not only positive but also open, and grounded, I would say.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Well, thank you. It's really the excitement of teaching everyone that really makes this so rewarding. The Go community is one of my favorite online communities I've ever been part of.
Okay.
And if you guys ever want a game, hit me up.
We might. Andrew usually he's got a kid, so he only usually finds 20 minutes here and there, but I wouldn't be surprised if you get a message from him and it says hey, my child's asleep. Can we, Can we throw the stones down or something like that?
Yeah, that hasn't happened before. No, not at all. Don't tell my wife. All right. So, Michaela, tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel. We mentioned it, but tell us a little bit about where can people find you? What kinds of things do you do on your channel? Stuff like that.
Yeah, so my channel name is Incente. Sente spelled Sente, and it's a concept in Go. Oh, sorry.
I wanted to ask you, what does Incente mean?
Yeah,
I know I could Google it, but I'm asking you.
Incente. So when you play a move in Sente, it's a forcing move your opponent has to respond to. So when you're taking Sente, you're taking the initiative.
It's like you're in charge.
Yeah, so it felt like a roll off the tongue, and so it was a good pun fodder too. So that's where I started the channel.
Nice.
Yeah, so you can find me on YouTube. That's usually where I post my content. I also stream on Twitch at Go Incente, all one word, GOINSENTE. And if anybody is looking for more instruction, one-on-one instruction, my Patreon is linked to all those accounts, and I do have a private Discord server. For like a couple bucks a month, you get access, and I have like a small community where we teach and play tournaments and discuss the game, and there's a bunch of channels, and it's a really great time. So that's like my way of trying to build that community to get people excited and have connection with other people when they play.
Very nice.
Awesome. Very cool.
Spreading the good news of Go out there.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely. Well, Michaela, thanks so much again for joining us. It was a real pleasure to talk to you, and we'll be keeping our eyes on those videos that are yet to come as we try to get better ourselves. And I'm sure anybody listening to this right here is going to look you up, and we'll all be looking towards the future, looking for what comes next.
Yes, thank you so much. And if and when I post this on my channel, can play that game. Definitely check the podcast out. By all means, this is where it is. You heard it here first. And they have some really great talks out of games. So.
Love it. Well, thanks.
Thank you so much.
You definitely helped us learn to play Go better, and just reading your comments seems like you helped a lot of other people play Go. So I think you're a real inspiration for a lot of people out there. So good job on you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Very cool.
Check out Incente,
Thank you, Michaela.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.